Hi everyone, Pat here. Welcome to this week's Tuesday market review. Likely going to be a lot shorter one today. Got a few things to discuss, but overall not too much to comment on since last week. We've been pretty much range bound in the market. I still have my limit at 104,800. Unfortunately, that area was front run last week. We spoke about that setup. So this setup is still valid for me. Looking for a long back towards 104,800. Whether this actually gets backfilled or not, I'm entirely unsure. It would really depend on how we trade this week, and we'll discuss things further on that front. But for now, we can see that BTC simply remains in range. The highs remain vulnerable right now. You know, we've seen this before in last summer's range, which I'll show shortly, but we form like sort of a high, lower high, lower high, right? Fails to sweep, lower high. You know, in this case, we did have a set of lower highs, which, you know, swept, but, you know, evidently still failed to sweep these highs here, you know, lower high, lower high. So overall, we're forming similar structure to what we've done in summer range last year. I've got this marked out here, and we can see, right, we form a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And then what happens is once we start to take the highs, we basically just get a breakout. So I'm pretty sure if we see a similar thing from BTC, you know, at some point in July, where it does go for the highs at 110,400, I'm pretty sure that once we do take those highs at 110,400, then we probably just run them all and go for all-time high in that breakout, right? So keep an eye on a potential sweep into here. And if we do start to run the highs, personally, I'm not going to be looking to fade a move into these highs. I think we run them all and probably break for a new all-time high in price discovery. I am going to be looking for a short though. I'm above this range high if I get a trigger. Right now, you know, as I said, we are range bound. We have to assume that price is going to continue to range, and range high act as range high. So for that reason, I will be looking for a short trigger into 109,750, taking these equal highs and potentially front running, you know, the stacked highs that we have above. We have a naked POC there at 109,750 that rests just above these highs, which I think is quite a nice place to look for a reversion if we get a nice trap into the highs, just as we've done into the lows, right? Simple SFP, swing failure pattern into the lows, good volume into the lows, almost 500 mil in that 15 mil candle. And we can see that there was some shorts entering into the lows as well. You know, looking for a similar thing into the highs up here. So into 109,750, if we can get a sweep above here with some trapped longs into this region, which is likely going to happen. Going to get some longs trying to trade the breakout as always, and people get really greedy into the highs and looking for a breakout. I think we can, if we get that flat, we get that trap, we can look to fade above that 109,750 area into that naked POC like I just mentioned. So yeah, that's my main sort of trade for the week right now, is looking to fade a move above the highs if we get a trap. And as I said, good chance that if we do invalidate, or we don't trap above here and we flip and we start to break out, then we are gonna just go into a price discovery move towards July into August. So talking about the breakout, right? You know, meme lines and trend lines, they're very subjective. You draw them to how you draw them, right? Some people might draw them to the wicks. I draw them to the bodies. You know, you can draw meme lines, trend lines many different ways. But what we have here is a potential breakout from this first trend line that was capped since the highs here, and we've looked to sort of like flip this lower high, right? It kind of reminds me of the breakout back here, yeah, kind of here where we flipped that first downtrend, and then we're now retesting this second downtrend. So what we kind of want to see is then another breakout here, and we can probably do a similar thing where we get that double breakout for BTC. And like I said, a good chance when we start to run the highs, we just look at breaking out much higher. So keep an eye on for that breakout, because historically over the past 2 years, all of these range breakouts, once we do get that close above the daily meme line, it does lead to that breakout much higher, right? Like I said, once we start to target some lower highs, we tend to just break out again, right? We can see that we're sort of like, as soon as we target the lower highs, we flip, and then we get that breakout again here, right? We break out, we target the lower highs, we flip it, and then we start to break out again here. You know, we form in lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower high. As soon as we start to take a lower high, we get the flip, we get the meme line breakout, we start to break out, right? We get that meme line breakout. So Looking for a similar thing here. If obviously we do start to flip 110, which is like the main pivot point, if we can get above 110, I'm pretty sure we look at going into price discovery into end of July and into August. But for now, like I said, assume that we remain in range bound. Assume that summer chop is upon us, and until we get that break above 110, I think looking for a deviation or a sell-off here, or maybe lower into July before bottoming July, August, and then breaking out again, right? But the bigger picture for me remains higher. I remain to buy BTC every day until September. That's the plan. My current average entry is around a 107,900. I've been buying Bitcoin since Wednesday, the 25th of July, every day at 11:30 for basically the past 2 weeks now, 2 weeks tomorrow. So an average entry, which I'm still in profit of. And if we do this, I will continue to buy into September. And if we do this, I will continue to buy into September. I do think that with the way the dollar's trading at the moment and how weak the dollar is looking, I think I would prefer to be sat in BTC right now rather than USDT. I'm not saying to completely rotate into BTC, but I think you're getting double bubble here with the fact that the dollar looks weak. And I think sitting in the dollar right now compared to BTC, which overall is going to trade much higher for the rest of the year, is looking like a better trade. So yeah, expecting BTC to trade higher for the rest of the year. This is something that I'm working on or have been looking at for a while, expecting BTC to top no earlier than October and continue to rally into October and even all the way through to November 2026. And make sure you check out my channel on Thursday this week, as I have a higher time frame market thoughts video dropping. I will be discussing all of my thoughts on the higher time frame, my potential price predictions, and why I'm targeting 200k, along with this period of trading, why I think we are way off a cycle top and still have at least 150 days to go before we top out in the market. So keep an eye out for that. That's coming on Thursday. Higher time frame thoughts on the market. So to discuss Ethereum a little bit, it did put in a nice reclaim back above 2,500 after deviating, nice reclaim back above 2,500. But personally, I want to see it flip 2,600. If we get that 2,600 flip on ETH, along with that flip of 110k on BTC, like I said, BTC probably goes into price discovery. I could see ETH trading towards 3,100. This is a really important place for BTC for ETH to flip, this 2,600 region, and this Q1 VWAP and the Q2 value area high, and then it is also the 2024 value area low as well. So if we can flip this 2,600 region, I'm pretty sure ETH trades towards the developing yearly value area high and then the 2024 VWAP. So keep an eye on this flip. Again, needs to come with a flip of BTC as well. Dog, this is a current trade I'm looking at. Reminds me of February and March Pepe. I'm currently in this trade and subject to close it depending on how BTC trades. If, like I said, we go into this 109,500 region and we look to be marking a top, I will probably exit my trade on this. But overall, really nice reclaim, really nice flip of this high volume node POC, retesting daily demand. Ideally, we should see a pretty, from this breakout, we should see a pretty sharp move back higher as long as conditions are in favor for this. But overall, at least looking for a move towards range high, and obviously flip there, then we're in price discovery. Another altcoin or meme coin I'm looking at right now is MOG. I like this higher time frame flagging into this support. It reminds me of early days Fartcoin and Pepe and SPX, sorry, before they got their big leg up. For example, down here on SPX, sort of had that deviation, flagging into key support and then legged up. We can see the similarities here when we look at MOG, right? Key level, deviation, flagged into support. Maybe we start to leg up. Fartcoin is the exact same. I'm not personally in this yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it for a breakout and for an entry. Not sure what I want to see for an entry just yet, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it. A few scam coins I've got my eye on for the rest of the week. This Gork coin, overall nice flip of this daily high volume node POC, and the daily breaker is now flipped. If it can get above 0.009, good chance it's going to really scam up higher, but overall still below resistance. I'm looking for some lower time frame triggers on this to get an entry, probably a reclaim above 0.0082, and that'll be my trigger to get in. Otherwise, not much interest in this. The other scam coin I'm looking at is this Kudus coin. The daily looks like it's potentially bottoming here. Quite nice structure on the daily. The 4 hour has this sort of higher time frame momentum divergences on the awesome oscillator and the RSI. both looking pretty good. And I'm still waiting for a trigger on this to get long. Maybe a move back down towards that high volume node POC for an entry. Overall, just looking for some sort of like structure on the lower time frame to get an entry on this. But again, if this starts to break out, it can move a lot higher, like towards 0.065 and even like a 70% move. Funding is also crazy negative on it. This is just kind of a recipe for a squeeze at some point, so I'm keeping a close eye on it for a scam move up higher. That's everything for this week's market review. Like I said, not too much to talk about, quite a slow market at the moment. Summer trading is definitely in full force, and I think until, like I said, we get a flip above 110, we're probably destined for chop and a move lower back down to like 104,800. But we look for a short into this 109,750. If we get a trap above here, I'm looking at taking a short. I'm targeting these lows and then even my swing long entry back towards 104,800. Expecting much higher prices this year. Just get these summer months out of the way and we can look at having some really nice trading conditions towards the back end of summer and Q4. Make sure you keep an eye out for this week's higher time frame market outlook. That's coming on Thursday. Going to schedule that in and record that tomorrow, and check out all the socials in the link below. Discord and my Twitter is linked below. If you like the video, please leave a like and drop a subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.